Alright, let's dive into this because it's a story that has the football world buzzing. Arsenal reportedly in advanced talks to sell one of their academy stars, Nwaneri, as part of a move to bring in Vinicius Jr from Real Madrid. Now, on the surface, this sounds like a typical transfer saga, but personally, I think there's so much more to unpack here. It's not just about swapping players, it's about strategy, ambition, and the future of a club. First off, Vinicius Jr to Arsenal? That's a statement. We're talking about one of the most electrifying wingers in the world, a player who's already proven himself at the highest level. If Arsenal pull this off, it's not just a signing, it's a declaration of intent. They're saying, we're here to compete with the big boys. But here's the thing, Vinicius doesn't come cheap. Not in terms of transfer fee, and definitely not in wages. Arsenal's owners would have to shatter their wage structure, which is a massive gamble. What makes this really interesting is that it's not just about the money, it's about the message. Are Arsenal finally ready to back their manager, Mikel Arteta, with the kind of signings that can turn them into title contenders? Now, let's talk about Nwaneri. This kid is a talent. Remember, he made his Premier League debut at just 15 years old, becoming the youngest player in the league's history. That's not just a record, it's a statement about his potential. But here's where it gets complicated. Nwaneri's been sent on loan to Marseille, and it hasn't exactly gone to plan. He's barely played, and now Arsenal are considering selling him to RB Leipzig with a buyback clause. From my perspective, this feels like a crossroads for the club. Are they giving up on a player who could be a future star, or are they making a pragmatic decision to balance the books? What many people don't realize is that Nwaneri's situation isn't unique. Arsenal have a history of selling academy prospects, Folarin Balogun, Joe Willock, Emile Smith-Rowe, the list goes on. But Nwaneri could be the biggest sale yet, not just in terms of fee but in terms of what it represents. He's a symbol of Arsenal's youth system, a player who chose them over the likes of Manchester City and Chelsea. Selling him now feels like a shift in strategy. Are Arsenal prioritizing short-term gains over long-term development? If you take a step back and think about it, this whole situation raises a deeper question: what does it mean to be a selling club in modern football? Arsenal have always prided themselves on their academy, but in an era where the transfer market is dominated by mega-rich clubs, can they afford to hold on to their best young talents? Personally, I think this is where the Real story lies. It's not just about Vinicius Jr or Nwaneri, it's about the identity of the club. Are Arsenal still the team that nurtures young talent, or are they becoming just another club in the market, buying and selling to stay competitive? A detail I find fascinating is the buyback clause in Nwaneri's potential move to Leipzig. On one hand, it's a safety net, Arsenal could bring him back if he explodes. On the other hand, it feels like a lack of commitment. In my opinion, the Vinicius Jr move is the kind of signing that could redefine Arsenal's trajectory. But it comes at a cost, literally and metaphorically. Sacrificing Nwaneri feels like a gamble, especially when you consider the depth they already have in attacking positions with players like Maduk, and Havertz. One thing that immediately stands out is how crowded that right half space is becoming. It's almost like they're overcompensating, bringing in so many players that someone like Nwaneri gets lost in the shuffle. What this really suggests is that Arsenal are still figuring out their identity under Arteta. Are they a team built around young talent, or are they a team that goes all in on established stars? Personally, I think they're trying to do both, and that's where the tension lies. It's a high-wire act, and one wrong move could backfire spectacularly. So, here's my closing thought: football is as much about the players you sell as the ones you buy. If Arsenal do let Nwaneri go, it won't just be a transfer, it'll be a statement about where the club is headed. And if they land Vinicius Jr., it'll be a statement about where they want to be. But the real question is, can they have it both ways? Only time will tell. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Are Arsenal making the right move, or are they sacrificing too much for short-term glory? Let's keep the conversation going.